Okay, welcome. Thank you for coming to tonight's signing day press conference. My name is Tom Weber. I'm the Sports Information Director, and I have the pleasure of introducing Coach Hill this evening. I've had the opportunity to work with Coach Hill now as far back as his playing days at SIU. A career in which he broke school passing records, became the first quarterback in conference history to beat a Big Ten team. He was a finalist for the Walter Payton Award, and only a quarterback named Joe Flacco kept him from winning the national title here at SIU. But you could see even at that time it was evident, in addition to his quarterbacking skills, that he had the leadership ability well beyond his years. And there's something that just happened, you may have heard it, 12 years after his playing career, the American Football Coaches Association recently named him among the top 35 coaches under the age of 35. That's a truly prestigious honor. We are very fortunate to have him back at his alma mater as our head coach. I'm going to turn the program over to Coach Hill. He'll introduce his staff, he'll talk about the signing class, and he'll take your questions. It's my pleasure to introduce the head coach of Saluki Football, Mr. Nick Hill.
Thank you, Tom, and thanks for everybody for coming out, especially in the rainy weather. I truly appreciate it, and like always, this is my fourth signing class, and it's an exciting day because so many things go into it. But it's a special day. Anytime you can add 27 players, which we signed 9 in December, but all together in this signing class, 27 new players coming. When you got a roster of 105, you're signing a quarter of new guys is a big day. So not only for them, but their families. Our family grew today. Through graduation, you lose some guys, and then you're always bringing in guys. So I'm excited to talk about them. I think you'll hear me say that word, excited, and love, and all those things, because that's what we feel about these guys. And so I appreciate you guys coming. I can't really talk, put into words. I don't think the normal person realizes the hard work that goes into recruiting. Not talking about myself, but just talking about my staff, that what goes into a signing class. Countless nights gone. You always hear about coaches spending tons of hours in the office, and that's during the season. At least you're putting your head, on the pillow with your family, and you're going home. In recruiting, you're basically gone for an entire month. You're during the week, you're gone. Doing home visit and traveling and doing all those things. And on the weekends, you're entertaining people here on campus. And you got official visits, and Friday night, Saturday night, they leave Sunday, and coaches turn around and leave again on Sunday. So I really, at this point, want to thank our families, all the wives, the kids. It's a long time during recruiting, and we appreciate you, all that you do for us, for your husbands, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. There's also a lot of people besides our full-time staff that get a lot of credit that goes into recruiting, from the weekends to people on campus, professors. It's kind of all hands on deck to really sell this place, and it's not that tough once you get them on campus. No one's more proud of this place than me, and it's easy when you get them here for everybody to see what a special place this is. But a few people that I want to point out before I introduce our staff that really do a lot for our program, and I greatly appreciate them, and sometimes they go under the radar. Some of them don't even get paid, and we appreciate them. But starting off with our GAs, Nathan Frame and Robbie Aldinger. Where are you guys at? Right over here. 27 guys. I think we brought close to 40 guys on official visits. If you fly them in, those guys have taken about 30 trips to St. Louis and back from the airport. And whether that's kid leaving at 5 and got to be picking them up in the airport at 4:45, or double trips to the airport in the same day, kid gets in at a different time, you go pick them up, you bring them back, you go right back to the airport, and those guys are our official drivers of this class, and we appreciate that. And Brett Johnson, Chris James, Jack Reardon, and Ryan McVicker. Where are you guys at? All across here. These guys are always with us. They're a part of our staff. They're in every staff meeting. They do a lot of hard work that, like I said, doesn't get recognized. But whether it's being in front of us during tours and opening up doors and making sure caterers are where they're supposed to be and food's put out. We appreciate all your hard work during this time. And then basically they're a part of our staff, but they're not coaches. But Hillary Wittenborn, she's in the back somewhere. Where you at, Hillary? Hillary's our academic coordinator, does an awesome job, not only for our players, but selling this place academically to the parents and the players when they come here. It doesn't matter if it's Friday night and she's still up here at 6 o'clock and she's got kids and wants to go home. She's here for us, a big part of it. Or whether it's Saturday, coming up here and meeting us for lunch when kids don't get here till late at night. It's really all hands on deck, and we appreciate all you did during this time. Caitlin Maloney and Hannah Miller, same thing. I'm sure they're excited to have a Saturday off because every Saturday it's part of the tour is going through the training room, and they're measuring and weighing and all kinds of forms and doing that, and they do a great job, and it's never complaining. They're here, and they're a big part of it, and we appreciate that. And then Emily Tebeck, where are you at? Emily's she's in admissions, and it's amazing how when you have a team that's all on the same page, it's important. And Emily's our go-to person over in admissions, whether it's family members with questions on how to get into school, or it's coming over. I mean, for example, we signed a kid on the last weekend, and the mom had questions and really wanted to meet with somebody. It was 11 o'clock on Sunday, and we come out of my meeting with them, and Emily's there on the couch and ready to get on the computer and show them how to fill out FAFSA and do it all right there. So we really appreciate that, and it really helps out, and we're going to all reap the rewards of that here pretty soon. And then Andy in the equipment room, it's pretty easy to sell our locker room and our facilities. But Andy Harris, thanks for always, same thing. I mean, these guys, it's like a full-time job, and it's always extra hours. And we thank you for everything you guys did. So if you want to give all those guys a round of applause, we definitely appreciate it. All right, I'm going to introduce our staff. I know some of you guys, it'll be good. You guys can get out and meet some of the new coaches. We have 4 new coaches on staff. But first, I'm going to start out with our, really he's got a lot of titles, but our director of recruiting, our player personnel, our ops guy, Geiska Crowley. You can come up here, coaches. You guys can come up here. But really, he's does an outstanding job. He does everything that us as coaches, from paperwork and being the man behind the scenes and just coordinating everything. And I just can't say enough about what a good job he does and the hard work that it is. A lot of times it's me calling him about 35 times a day and wanting to know what's going on back at the office, or expecting him to go down and get yelled at by the compliance or whatever it is. It's been a long recruiting process for him as well. And he does an outstanding job. Starting with our offensive staff, don't mind Skylar over here. She is getting excited. But Blake Rowland is our new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, and we're excited to have him. He got here right before the first signing day, and Blake and I met about a year ago in May. Through a mutual friend, Zach Taylor, who's now the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, who was announced yesterday. We're proud of him. But went out to L.A. and staying with Zach, and this guy came in and was a part of the hanging out and got to know him, and now he's on our staff. This is kind of how things work. And so he's coming here with a ton of experience from all different levels, spent a lot of time in the SEC, and so we're excited about Blake. And then the rest of the staff that's here, Pat Poore coaches our special teams, tight ends, fullbacks. Come on up. And everybody knows Coach Poore. So we're happy to still have him. Nate Griffin is in the back. He coaches our running backs, is also our on the road, and does an amazing job in recruiting as well. He's our recruiting coordinator and does an outstanding job. Nick Williams coaches our wide receivers. His back will be in his 3rd year. And did a great job with the guys this year, did an outstanding job in recruiting. As you'll see, he recruits Georgia, and it paid off this year, signing up 3 kids from Atlanta. That's it on offense, right? Now, Trevor Olson, big guy in the back. Trevor the offensive line coach, is back. Been with me since I first got the job, and we ended up signing 6 offensive linemen here in this second signing period we really needed to do, and did a good job. Defensively, we got a new defensive coordinator, Jason Petrino. It's coming from here. I'm really excited to have Jason here. He's already getting to work and paying off, and I'm excited to see him get out there in spring ball and get a feel for our roster, because it's different than just seeing him in workouts and putting his stamp on this team. I think some of you have heard me in interviews. I interviewed him the first time, competed against him, got beat by him, and he did a lot of things that I think will really enhance our defense and make us better. We signed 2 other guys. Spencer Brown will coach our linebackers, has spent some time with Coach Petrino at South Dakota, and then has spent the past 3 seasons at North Carolina State. Chuka Ndulaway is coming here from Nebraska, played 3 years at Oklahoma, still looks like he can play. We might slip some pads on him and get him out there on the D-line. But Chuka, really, whenever I was going to hire these guys, it just seemed like every night I was on the road that I kept getting a call from another coach that was just endorsing Chuka. So I don't know if he was paying him or what he was doing, but I kept getting a ton of calls from a lot of people that I respect that I've not even met before that wanted to reach out and talk about what a great job he would do. So I'm excited about him, not only on the field but mentoring our guys. He played 3 years in the National Football League, and obviously at Oklahoma was all academic, was all conference on the field as well. Moved to the country whenever he was 9 years old. Grew up with his grandma in Texas, so there's not much that he can't just pour into our guys about what it takes to be a professional and to get here. So we're excited about Chuka. And then Marty Rogers, that's been here with me since I got the job as well, will be back and coach the cornerbacks. And Coach Rogers always does a great job in recruiting, and we're excited to put this staff together. So with that's everybody, right? And then 2 other guys I always talk about. I don't think Mead's still in the weight room lifting with our guys. We lift on Wednesday evenings. But Mead Smith does an outstanding job. He's another guy that really your strength staff is part of your staff, because that's where games are won and lost, is in that weight room. I feel like we've had a good 3 weeks so far in the off-season program, and Mead's working his butt off and puts in a lot of hours, and we appreciate Mead. And then Roger Lipe. Where's Roger at? Roger's in the back. He even tied my tie today. I mean, he does it all. But Roger's at every recruiting meeting on Friday nights, meets with our players. We started back up on every Monday. We meet with Roger as a staff and just do a devotional, and we appreciate Roger's part of our staff every day. Doesn't miss practice, doesn't miss a game. It's a big part of what we do. So with that, that'll be our staff going into the spring and for next year. And if you would, give them a round of applause. You guys can go sit down. All right, I'm going to go through these players, which you guys all came here to find out about. So alphabetically, I'll roll through these guys pretty quickly. I'll make a little statement at the end, and then for you guys that have some questions about the players, I'll be happy to answer anybody's questions. Starting off with Amari Curtis. Amari is a guy that is from Illinois, up in Downers Grove, but goes to Culver Academy in Indiana. And I tell you what, he's going to be, as much as you say that, but that you could come to college and almost get a break from your schedule. Most kids are just getting slapped in the face with the routine. He goes to a military academy. He's in charge of 30 kids every morning, waking up, making sure their beds are made. He has PT. He basically, from 6 to 10, his schedule is regimented, and played 2 sports at that place. And so we are excited about him. Went on an official visit to Illinois State the week before. They offered him. We got him in the second to last weekend and ended up committing to us. Is a really athletic kid that played on both sides of the ball, but we're going to start him off at the offensive line, and we are excited about Maury. Chase Evans is coming from Mason, Ohio. As you can see, we dipped into Ohio and got 3 Ohio kids. There's a lot of good football over there. And in Cincinnati, Coach Rowland was friends with from his time in Cincinnati with this high school coach. And just another big offensive lineman, 6'3", 275, had 20 sacks on the defensive side of the ball, but an athletic guy that we were really looking for to build around and redshirt and get bigger and really put some depth in our offensive line, and we feel like Chase will do that. Jake Green is a kid that was committed to us before the first signing day, stayed with us all the way through, even though getting recruited by other schools. And so we ended up signing him today, and we're excited about him. He can play tackle. Is a great-looking kid and tough and comes from Atlanta and will do a great job. Devin Hunt is from East St. Louis. We've signed a kid from East St. Louis every year in every signing class that I've been a part of. And then whenever I got here, I told Coach Sunkett that we were going to recruit his kids, that it meant something to me. And all the thing is every kid from East St. Louis has came here and graduated. 2 of them got their degrees. We got, I think, 2 or 3 of them that's still on the team, and we are excited about Devin. Devin's a kid that has been to camp. We've been all over. He had offers throughout our league, and so we're excited about Devin. Same thing. People were trying to get him to not sign the first time. He didn't sign. And then, Marty has done a great job in that school and did a great job with his family and ended up signing him today. P.J. Jules is a cornerback from Jones High School in Orlando. That'll be the 5th kid that we have from Jones. Same thing that I tell their families, Jones kids, they come here and they get their degrees. And that's a big part of it. And P.J. at one point had several FBS offers from Syracuse and FAU, and didn't sign with us early because he had a lot of kids and a lot of action going on, but stayed with us. And he's a kid from Haiti. We have multiple kids from Haiti on this team that really helped us in recruiting him. But PJ's a special kid. He's a lot like Whitney Simon, who spent 4 years here. And Whitney's a special kid to me. And PJ reminds me a lot of Whitney. They come from the same high school. They really come from the same background. Both of them are Haitian kids. And those kids come here and they work and they're appreciative. And we are pumped up to have PJ. Gray Lyles is a transfer quarterback from Scottsdale Community College. He spent 2 years at the University of Wisconsin, was a big recruit, went to Wisconsin, and then ended up at Scottsdale. And his brother starts offensive line for the University of Wisconsin right now. So he comes from a family. His dad played tight end at Wisconsin. He comes from a tough family, a big family. He's probably the shortest kid in their family. But Correa's already came here and been like we thought he'd be. He's a great kid with a great attitude, hardworking. He was in my office today showing me some individual drills that he wants to implement, and he's talking ball all the time. And he's just a great kid that we're looking forward to having, and especially in spring ball. Correa went on visits to Northern Iowa, Western Illinois, and we were trying to get him, but then recruiting went dead after the first signing period, and some bigger schools were recruiting him. And so recruiting goes dead, and it doesn't open up till after the national convention. But our school started a week early this year, so we had him here on January 9th. He went on an official visit. His parents weren't able to make it, so he really liked it. He wanted us to go and see him, his parents. So Coach Rowland and he left here on Monday morning or Sunday night. Coach Rowland and I drove to Madison, Wisconsin on Monday. Our first morning workout was the next day at 6 a.m., and I wanted the entire staff to be here, and I for sure wanted to be here. So we get up there. I've never even heard of tomahawk steaks before, but if you know what a tomahawk steak is, then you can picture it's got this huge bone coming out of it. They're like this big. And we get there, and when I said like the brother was there, the offensive lineman, the dad is a big, strong guy, and they like to eat. So we downed a big tomahawk steak that the dad had made and stayed there until about 9 o'clock. Looked at each other, and we both drove back. Actually, Coach Rowland drove the whole way, and I got a little shut-eye. But we drove back, got here at about 3:30, and had workouts at 6. So that was a long day, but it's going to be well worth it, and one that I always told him that we'll talk about for a long time because it was worth going up there to seeing his family and getting Correa to sign. And now he's here on campus, enrolled in classes, and will be going in spring, which is huge for the quarterback room. Jakari Patterson from Coleraine in Cincinnati, which is a powerhouse in Cincinnati. Big, long, athletic kid. When you see his film, he's what you want him to look like when you recruit him. Has tons of potential, and can't be more excited about Jakari. Him and his mom came over here, and it's been fun getting to know them. Nate Pierre is a kid from Brooklyn, New York. Went to ASA College. Another kid that it's taken some work to get Nate Pierre. And when he called me yesterday, I was at Kroger in the line checking out, getting a salad, and he called me, and I backed out, and I went into, I think I was by the diapers or whatever, and I'm pumped up because I've spent a lot of days on the road trying to get Nate, myself, flying to Brooklyn. It's not easy getting around New York City, Ubering, going to his mom's house in Queens. Got stuck, and we walked to some barbecue place in a whiteout blizzard, and he kept going on other visits. He took 5 official visits, 2 of them after he came to here, so he definitely made us earn it and wait it out, but he's one that we felt was worth to do that. He's a big, physical offensive lineman that looks the way they should look, can play tackle and or guard, but he's played an entire season at the college level at tackle, and we felt like that was an area we needed to bring some depth in, and we're excited that Nate will be here in the summertime and ready to roll for the fall. Jalen Snell, kid from Carmel Catholic, which recruiting up there is important to us. Super athletic kid that played both sides of the ball. The offensive guys wanted him to play on the offensive line. Defensive guys wanted him on the defensive line, which that's a good problem to have. And so he's going to start on the defensive line. Big athletic kid from our home state in Illinois, and excited to get Jalen. Jonathan Thompson is a cornerback from Highland Junior College that's already here. And when I put out the tweet today, he's already made a huge impact on our team. The kid is coming here and outworking everybody. He shuts his mouth. I bet if you ask everybody from equipment to academics, they would already have the same feeling about Jonathan Thompson, is that he's just a great kid. I mean, he's one I told the staff the other day in the staff meeting, he's the kind of kid that you want to recruit because he makes your day better when you just see him. And you go out there at 6 a.m. and it's 15 degrees and you're rolling around and stuff that people don't want to do, and he's winning every race. And so we're excited about Jonathan. We didn't know for sure when we got him. We waited at the end. He came up here, and we're excited to see him compete and add some depth at the cornerback position. Nate Thurman is from Vianney in St. Louis. Coach Rogers has done a great job recruiting that school. Coach Day, who recently retired from there, I think is one of the better coaches in the state of Missouri. Won state championships in the biggest class 2 out of the last 3 years. They won the state championship this year. He was their leader. Lucas Giegling, who came here and was all freshman, was all newcomer this past year that started for us, was his teammate at Vianney. They know how to work, and Nate is no different, and we're excited what Nate can do. It says 225 there. It's always nice when you get recruits here, and if you ever have any kids, don't fake what they are. If they're 6'2", say that they're 6'2". Don't say they're 6'4", because when they show up here and you say they're 6'4" and they're 6'2", and everybody's disappointed. And so it said 225. He got on the scale and he was 239. That's a good thing. So he was already putting on weight. It's a bigger guy, and so we're excited about Nate. Abdou Touré is a kid, another kid from Atlanta that has tons of potential. He'll come here and he'll redshirt, and really we don't know how big he'll get. Right now he's about 6'6", 260, but he'll easily be 300 pounds. And we were excited to get Abdou. A lot of people did a lot of work with him. It was another long travel. He wanted his dad to come really bad, and they weren't going to, you can only buy one plane ticket. So we went and picked him up in Atlanta, and it was Trevor, and who else was driving? And Chuka, and 2 big, large guys so 4 big, large guys in a minivan driving back from Atlanta, get him up here, and then Robbie had to get the duty of when they left on Sunday to drive back to Atlanta and then turn around and drive right back. And but we signed him, and that's what we always say, that there's going to be some days that are long, grind them out days, but they're worth it whenever you get to days like today. Elijah Watson's a defensive tackle from Iowa Central Community College, started his career at Miami of Ohio and plays defensive tackle. He played as a true freshman at Miami of Ohio, and we feel like he can come and give us immediate help at the defensive line and competition. Played well as a true freshman there, went to Iowa Central and had a good season there as well. And we were able to get him here in this and get him signed when we didn't know if he would sign or keep it open throughout the fall. So he'll be here in the summer, be ready to go. Easton Wolf is a safety from Waverly, Ohio. Reminds me of Mike McElroy. I went and watched him play basketball up in it's north of Cincinnati, and I just liked the way that he competed and he played. He's a leader. He's got 1,100 receiving yards. He had 84 tackles and 3 interceptions. This kid does everything. He didn't score a lot of points, but I just like the way that he competed. He's a great teammate, and that really sold me on him. And we got him over here. He's got a 26 on the ACT. He's just smart and really what we're looking for in getting all the student athletes that we have. But he'll come here and he'll work and develop, and we are excited about Easton. We're also adding Cooper Callis. He is from over by Cape Girardeau. Was a standout player, quarterback over there. Was like Missouri Player of the Year. Ended up going to Jones County Community College last year, decided that wasn't for him, and he's coming here and is actually here on campus as well. Madison Allen is a linebacker from West Frankfort that we're also adding. We are excited about him. They was over here this weekend. Ryan Patton is his coach, and Ryan told me that he reminded him a lot of himself coming out of high school. Ryan, and I tell all the walk-ons that story. Ryan Patton, we all remember Ryan, came here as a slow walk-on quarterback at the time, was in my room, and then he just kept outworking everybody and ended up starting 3 straight years at middle linebacker for some really good football teams as a semifinal team right there from West Frankfort, walked on, and we feel like this kid can do the same thing when he comes here and works. James Gunn is from Marion, defensive tackle, big kid that's going to come here and play defensive in the interior defensive line. And we are excited about James and Tate Johnson from Heron. And we're excited about Tate. Tate's been over here a ton since he was younger, comes to all of our games, and I think that it's a unbelievable opportunity. I tell all those kids from Southern Illinois that we want them to have a place to play, and we want this to be home for them, especially the ones that this means something to them. Obviously, me growing up in DuQuoin, that means something. We've got a lot of kids sprinkled throughout our roster that are contributing, that are from right here in the 618 area, and so it's always exciting for me to bring those guys on here, and we're excited to have them. I'll read off the guys that we signed in December. I won't talk about them. I talked about them the first time, but we were really excited that they started out the class. So there was 9 that we signed early. We got 2 mid-year guys after the signing period that are on campus, and then we signed 12 guys today. And then we got the 4 guys that are coming here that we're adding also the roster to add 27. But Matt Brenheisen from Sacred Heart Griffin, Branson Combs from Evansville, Tanner Corn from Knoxville, Avante Cox is here doing a great job already for us, transfer from Wyoming that we're excited to get into spring ball. Jordan Cox from Atlanta and Milton. Romir Elliott, I will talk about Romir because he hadn't signed yet on the day that I talked about the early signing period. He was a guy that made us wait, but incredible kid, loyal kid, because he had a couple big schools that came and offered him the last week and made it really tough for him to sign here. But he's a short kid. Reminds me kind of Larry Warner, maybe a little bit taller than Larry, but was the best running back in the state of Indiana by far. But a lot of people overlooked him because of his height, and he appreciated that we were his first offer. So whenever the bigger schools started coming in the last 2 weeks, the kid called me and said, "You were the first one to believe in me, and I'm coming there, and we're going to change this thing around." And that meant a lot. He rushed for 3,000 yards in one season, won a state championship game. And so I think that he's a guy that University of Indiana and those schools will look over here and see him and wish they would have had him here in a couple of years. But Coach Griffin did a great job. Really, when you're out recruiting and you hear the good things about your assistants, that makes you proud. And his parents straight up said that Nate Griffin is one of the biggest reasons why he came here, and the relationship that he built with his kid meant something. So Coach Griff did a great job, and we're excited about Ramir coming here. Will Hopkins from Park Hill, Missouri. Tim Johns, who's here, the kid that transferred here from Purdue, doing a great job, working hard, is Jack's roommate, keeping Jack in line. And Avery Taggart from Eureka is the kid that's going to come here and play both sports. Just scored his 1,000th point, doing a really good job in basketball, and will play tight end for us. So that wraps up our signing class. I'm excited about these guys. I could sit up here and give a bunch of cookie cutter answers about like everybody does. We talked about that as a staff on signing day. This is the best signing class. Really, we won't know until for a couple of years. They got to come here and work, and they've got to produce. And a lot of times you don't know what the recruiting class is going to look like for 2-3 years down the road, because it's a lot of hard work and dedication and maturing and getting better, especially in the sport of football. You got to come here and you got to develop. And you're a lot different when you're 21 than you were when you were 18. And the same thing for us. I can sit up here and, 2-9 is not where we need to be. And I'm the first to say that. And we've got to get better. But I wholeheartedly believe in what we're doing. I believe in the process that we have in place. I believe in the men that we have in place. And we are going to win. And you guys showing up on a Wednesday night up here in the rain, you guys are the people that make it worth going out and keeping on working, and you guys are going to reap the benefits of this too, and we appreciate it. When I say that, I truly do appreciate you guys, and it's natural to start doubting, we're going to get it done, all this kind of stuff, and I'm sitting up here, that's what I told our team. There's nothing that we can do until we go down to SEMO on August 29th, but to just shut our mouth and crawl in this hole and start working and outwork people, and believe in the process and believe that the little things are what going to get us there. And I know that that's going to happen. So we got a great group of people here. I believe that you win with great people first. And that's what I feel like this class exemplifies. A lot of great students, a lot of great people. And I think our staff did a good job going out there and finding those type of kids. So with that, I know you guys will probably have some questions, or if any fans have any questions, we'll open it up for questions now.
Okay, now you've had a couple of years of the split signing period.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I like the early signing period. I think that it's good for college football. It's good for different, last year we signed more, and this year we signed 9 and had a lot of work to do in January. But I think that you can find a lot of really good players at our level, FCS, that really probably should be FBS players that are left now because so many people feel like they got to get filled up in the early signing period. And we were able to sign a lot of really good players that probably could play FBS football, but we were able to sign them here in the last month.
I just noticed that the early signing period, they're more skilled positions, and the guy signed today are more the linemen and front seven people. Is that?
Well, I think that's just kind of the way that it played out. Was we knew that our scholarship allotments we had to sign some offensive and defensive linemen, and we went out there and we accomplished that. They weren't guys that we just sign just to sign a guy. These are all guys that we wanted, that we feel that can be impact players. And so it's just how it worked out. We were able to sign some skilled players that we wanted early, and then we really concentrated on up front here in the month of January.
Are there anybody in this list that won't redshirt for sure?
You never know. I tell them now with the rule of playing 4 games that they all should have the expectation to come here and compete and take somebody's job. I tell them the same thing. I mean, we expect them to come in here, and we're recruiting the wrong guy if you're going to come here and take a back seat to somebody. As a competitor, I know how I was. I didn't want anybody to play in front of me, and they shouldn't either. So, like I said earlier in an interview, I think that somebody on this list will emerge. Like the first year, DJ Davis was a freshman All-American. Jeremy Chin was a freshman All-American. Jaquan Burton came and had a really good season this year as a true freshman. And so somebody on this list, I don't know who, will come and make a big impact as a true freshman. Now, mid-year guys that you sign, transfers that you sign, your expectations, you're taking them to come and help your team out right away. They're mature enough. and you targeted them to come and fill a need and come and play, and that's what our expectations are for the guys that we sign.
The film I've seen of Nate Thurman, he stands up a lot. Are you going to have him at defensive end or another linebacker?
You can ask Coach Petrino if you want, but no, he'll start with on the line of scrimmage. You know, we feel like he is more of a guy that's going to be in the front four, whether that's he's standing up or he's got his hand in the dirt. We'll figure that out. But he's natural at putting being up there in the line of scrimmage and rushing the passer specifically. But that's what I said, at 239 pounds right now as a senior in high school, he's going to be up around 245 or 250 and big enough to play the run and you know, play every down.
How important was it bringing in a couple more quarterbacks with both of your guys?
Yeah, anytime you lose two guys at a position, it's important, you know. The bottom line is we've got to find a championship quarterback, and I feel like there's guys in our room that can do that. But you win at that position, and you got to play winning football. I'm not saying you got to be an All-American or have the best stats, but you got to win games. And we feel like the guys that we have in there, adding Correa, we wouldn't have signed Correa if we didn't think he had the ability to come in here. No one gets told they're going to come in here and play. We want guys that know they're going to have to come in and earn it and compete, and Correa's the same guy, but you already see that competitive spirit in him, and so we're excited about the guys that we brought.
How about just, I mean, you don't know what kind of players they're going to be. Can you rate the athleticism of this group?
No, I think they're really athletic. You know, I feel like you know, when you add, we added some really good athletic pass catching tight ends. You know, Branson Combs, a kid that can play all over the field, but's going to grow and get to, you know, 220 pounds, 225 pounds, and be kind of a matchup guy that plays H-back. Avery Taggart's the same thing. He's played wide receiver, good basketball player, really good skill player. Avante Cox is a kid that's kind of a jet sweep guy, speed guy, slot guy. He's got really good speed, and we'll add, you know, as we play on offense, when we spread you out, you need guys that can do something when you get them the football. So Avante can do that. And so, you know, and then in the back end, you know, we signed some DBs that we feel like have great length. You know, P.J. Jules is the shortest DB we signed, and he's over 6'1", with great length and athleticism. So, you know, we really made sure that they definitely fit the intangible part of what we want, you know, as far as size and length and athleticism. So we feel good about that.
Are you, with the signing of Elliott, are you satisfied with your running back depth?
Yeah, you know, we moved Javon Williams to running back. Some, you know, guys that haven't done it yet, but with Javon there, I mean, DJ Davis had a really good year, and as we go through cut-ups and we're breaking down the last season right now and getting ready for spring ball, DJ had an excellent year. He really did. He had an outstanding year. Some of these games, some of the runs that he put, some of the film that he put out there, but you can't do it alone. You got to have a stable of backs, and I think Romir's a guy that's got to come in here and expect to take some carries next year, and so I think he thinks that too.
So Javon is definitely running back.
Yeah, he's going to be in the running back. We'll do all kinds of stuff with him, though. I mean, he'll eventually take some snaps from quarterback, I'm sure. But no, he's in Nate's room right now, learning it from the running back spot. He spent a year with me learning it from the offense from the quarterback spot. So I'm excited. Javon's just a guy that you got to get the ball to. I mean, he's a natural as they come as far as making plays. And so we'll figure that out. This spring will be good for him and us as coaches figuring out what role he really fits in.
Were there any areas you specifically targeted this year? I mean, it looks like you're all over the map here with positions.
Yeah, I think I get that question every year. Is, you know, we set out, we want to sign somebody at every position. So then you've got depth at every position, and you fill those needs. And like I said, a lot of times you're really excited about these kids, and then you got to develop them. So, you know, last year's class has got to be developing, and this will be their first spring ball. And then you're going to hear a lot of names that are redshirt freshmen that you didn't know about, that you forgot about, that we signed last year. And then you keep just stacking good classes on top of each other. You start to reap those benefits, and so that's where I'm really excited. But yeah, I mean, we we graduated some guys, obviously, at quarterback. We lost, we have 2 starting offensive linemen. We got 3 returning. Adding Nate there to create some competition. We feel good about a couple of the kids that we signed last year that'll be redshirt freshmen that are really going to push to play. But you got to see that in the spring ball, and you got to earn that in training camp. And so really we set out to sign a guy at every position. We ended up sending, I think, 6 offensive linemen, the most we've ever signed. But we also lost 5 senior offensive linemen. So it was important for us to hit that.
Are all these guys, the transfer guys, are they all on campus?
No. The guys that are not are Nate Pierre and Elijah Watson are both guys that won't join us until the summertime.
How important is that depth after like this last season where we got a lot of key injuries?
Yeah, I mean, depth's we found that out this year. I mean, depth's a key to winning championships in football. You're as good as the next guy that's going to play. So, and then staying healthy is important, and that's easy to say, but so much goes into what we're doing right now in the off season and training, taking care of your bodies. We play a physical sport that there's going to be injuries, so the next guy's got to be ready to go. And I think that's was a key thing with playing 4 games. When you can play 4 games and still redshirt, you can develop your guys. And some of these young guys got to be ready to add depth, and when called upon in the middle of the season, especially those skill guys, they got to be ready to play. Whether you play wide receiver or DB, those guys can come in and if athletically they're ready to go. Offensive line, sometimes defensive line, it's tougher, especially on the offensive line. You need that year to develop, but we've got to build depth in our team, and we feel like we did that today. I think just Cooper, him wanting to be here. We knew about Cooper. He came to camp when he was in high school, and, he had an outstanding high school career. And, we want guys that want to be here, and Cooper wanted to be here. And he's done it the hard way. He went down going to be a junior college quarterback in Mississippi. Sometimes not the easiest thing. And took a beating a little bit this year, and he's a tough kid. And so we're excited about Cooper coming here and competing. He knows that nothing is given. You got to earn everything, and he understands that, and that's what I appreciate the most about Cooper is that, we got 5 quarterbacks. That doesn't scare him off, and he's here to compete.
One more question. I mean, how big is it having both quarterbacks here too? To be able to go through spring ball?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, that's the one position where you've got to have spring ball. You might see somebody across the country that grad transfers or something and comes in the summer and then he plays, but it takes him the first half of the season to really get going. So those 15 practices and all those meetings are you just can't say enough about it, is getting here and learning the system. Not only that, but learning your teammates. That guy's got to be a leader for you. And so you can't just show up on campus and earn the respect of your teammates. So just getting around your guys and being a leader, and then on the field stuff, you get those 15 practices and all those reps. Everybody good? All right, yeah.
Nick, first of all, for Saluki Nation, we certainly appreciate the attitude you bring to the program. Based on what you see now, does the defensive scheme seem to be more a 3-4 or 4-3 setup based on the talent you have and the direction you want to go?
No, that's a good question. I think that will be more multiple this season. I think if you come out and watch spring ball right away, we'll be in a 4 down. That's the way our team has been set. But maybe some different sub packages. And as we get going through spring, we'll figure that out. I think you always got to change the front up. So maybe seeing us in some more odd, structures and standing the guy up. You've got to adapt to your personnel. So if the guy is the best 11, we got to get our best 11 guys on the field, no matter what the scheme is. The players are going to win you games, and just because you run a 4-3, but the best player's over there, he's an outside linebacker, then we got to do a better job coaching and getting them out on the field. So I think you'll see us be more multiple, using our strengths and using our players to the best of their advantage. So I guess to answer your question, you come out, we'll be starting in a 4 down, but just being in some more 3 down fronts. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming. We'll hang around for a little bit if you want to talk to some of the new coaches, but I really appreciate you guys coming out. We're excited. We start practice February 27th. It's crazy to think that practice is a couple weeks away. So we're excited to get going and excited to get this thing going right back on the right path. So we appreciate it. Thank you.